everybody, did this make it better? I have no excuses, so let's just get into it. This will be what if Deku was a Ghost Whisperer Part 21. I believe I left off here. As Zuko helped push his friends up into the sky, as well as everybody else working together, he disappeared out of thin air using his powers. They did the scene of having Bakugo fly up to them, grabbing onto their hands, and going off into space. But really, Zuko, and after their landing abruptly, and they were checking on everybody was okay, and they look around to find Zuko, and they can't find him. Moving on to Zuko. Zuko is watching the fight go on between All Might and All For One, going head to head, punches after blows after quirk usage all this time, and giving out a lot of Black Clash and Sonic waves, kinda, coming from their fight, and it's hitting the close by neighborhoods and buildings and collapsing. Luckily, most of the civilians are getting out, but Zuko looks around and sees there's still some stuck in the rubble. So he decided while they are fighting that he'd go into the crowded spaces that were being taken up by humans, turn intangible, phase goes right through the rubble, grab on the person, turn them intangible, and told them to be quiet, and he'll put them in a safer area. He asked for if anybody was in the building as well, and the person will say yes. Then Zuko went right back and started saving people secretly, and to a point where some of the cops are seeing this kid appearing at one moment with a bunch of people and disappearing like it never happened. At first, he thought he was losing his mind, but slowly seeing more people getting rescued by this kid, so they decided to help out with him. To a point where Zuko overheard All For One's speech on how he took the quirks from many other children that seemed very promising, which really pissed Zuko off. And when All For One was gathering up all of his quirks into the right arm, making it look so disgusting, he threw another slash towards All Might, and All Might went all the way to the other side of the neighborhood. I didn't find a video, I'm sorry. And was coming out of the rubble in his small might form, which shocked everybody in the whole crowd and the people that are watching this on the screen. Even Bakugo and their friends, the group, is watching all of this. Seeing how All Might is shrunken down in a weakened form, and Zuko had enough with this, came into the battlefield, standing right in front of All Might, and asked All Might if I'll tag me in. All Might said, "What? No, you're just a kid. You're not allowed to be here. You don't have your license. You have to get out of here." And Zuko looks over to All Might. "How can I be a hero if I can't protect the one that needs it most?" That really got to All Might, because he did the same thing with Zuko, remembering the time they trained together and putting his ideals onto Zuko, which somehow is coming right back. All Might is grateful. He lowered his head and said, "Please help me." Zuko kind of smiles and said, "Alright, here we go." As he have his glowing arms through it for both of them and start attacking All For One. Some parts he's getting hit by All For One, but most of the time, Zuko's doing the blows. Most of it is actually affecting him. And when All For One try to hit him, swat him away, or punch him, Zuko actually fades through at that one small area to make it look like that All For One is not hitting him. And it's frustrating All For One of not hitting him that he decided to use a black lightning substance around his body and just forcing it out, trying to hit Zuko. But Zuko is facing right through that as well. All For One is asking what is this kid's quirk, and thinking of it, yelling actually on what is your quirk. It seems very powerful. Maybe I should take it for my. As he reached out to grab Zuko's head, when he was really close and punching their faces, Zuko's head phased right through it. All For One is just getting real frustrated and decided to throw more and more at Zuko to a point where he's limiting his movement even more. Zuko notices and decides to turn half of his body into a ghost and start going really hard on him. Forward on his stomach, his chest, his arms, anywhere that is open, he is taking it. He is remembering every single tactic that he learned from Gran Torino and taking it into account for this fight. As this was going on, in the background, All Might is charging up One For all in one fist, one single area. All Might said, "Hey, are you ready?" And Zuko smiles, says, "I'm ready." As All Might jumped forward and preparing to do a Detroit smash into All For One, but Zuko is covering the whole thing. Zuko's actually right in front of All For One, for he can't see anything. All For One is only able to see Zuko's face, and Zuko grabbed onto both of All For One's arms and held it in place. It's still struggling. He's still trying to get out of it and try to kick him out and saying let go and using all of his quirks, but none of it is hitting him. It really is confusing him a lot. And Zuko, when he felt just one small percent of heat coming his way, he immediately went through the floor. All For One got Detroit smashed in the face by All Might, dealing with a huge blow. All Might is standing after the dust finally settles and seeing All For One on the ground. And Zuko and the rest of the crowd start cheering, saying that he defeated the villain, saved us all. And when All Might was doing the pose of pointing to Zuko, but making it look like it was pointing to the camera, saying, "You're next," which really gave the crowd a huge cheer. A few moments when All Might was leaving the battlefield, they hear rubbles coming from the ground, shaking on the earth as if it was an earthquake. But when they turn around and see All For One creating a huge fist of rock, concrete, iron, all of it on his right arm, and saying, "You have not defeated me. I was holding back this whole time." As he threw a huge slash, this time throwing all the rock, the metal that was on his arm towards the crowd, which Zuko did not have anything for, not taking up this crap anymore. He threw a slash through the air, making a wall of ice, the solid that's more like concrete than ice. It's extremely cold already, and it just got colder. He protected everybody that was in the way, and Zuko, and only All Might was able to see what Zuko did. And Zuko immediately flew through to All For One into his body and start contracting, moving his arms more robotic to a point where he can't move anything. And Zuko, that is very flexible, bend his arms, well, All for One's arms, all the way back, and hearing a big pop on both of them. All for One felt the pain and started screaming out, and Zuko did not stop there. Both the arm on the shoulders, elbows disconnected, and he did the same on the legs, disconnecting to the hip, and the knees. All for One felt all the pain, and it was all the fighting he did and using up so much of his stamina and energy to fight with his quirks that All for One was out for the count. All Might looks over on All for One and see his bones or his arms bent the wrong way. Zuko finally gets out of the body, and when he was visible, shows the same out of placement that he is with All for One, but he just rolled it right back and clicked him back in. All Might said, you know, you're terrifying when you don't try. And Zuko said, no problem, All Might. I'm just happy that everybody's safe. But now, since that has happened, a few days has passed. Everybody's going back to school and talking about that fight, which Zuko is explaining some parts but not everything, since All Might told him not to tell him all of it. So Zuko is talking about that. Now, in the classroom they were talking, and when Aizawa finally came in, he explains that they're going to be putting in place a dorm system. Here are the permission slips from your we need your permission signed by your parents and all that. And they will be a meeting with each of the of their parents directly for this permission slip. So they agreed to this until the next day. It's a Friday, so it was Saturday, and each of the classrooms, classes, the students' parents were met with a hero, Razorhead and All Might, and most of them have said yes, put some reasons why they didn't want to do it, but were convinced otherwise by All Might, until they get to Zuko's home. They've been trying to get there for 10 minutes and somehow come to the right spot of a corner every time, like the first try to get there. So they finally decide to call Zuko and ask Zuko where is his home. And Zuko said, "Oh, alright, I forgot to tell you guys. Sorry about that. I'll be right there." They just hear a beep after all of that. See the phone that was hanged up. And Zuko came out of nowhere and said, "Okay, don't be alarmed, but my master, All Might, you should know him. He put up a security system where no one is able to find our house unless we, the homeowners, take you there. So let's go." As Aizawa is asking Zuko about more of these details, it could be really useful for UA. And Zuko said, "Yeah, but you have to ask him about it. I don't know how he does it." Aizawa asked him, "Do you know what his quirk is?" And Zuko said, "Nope. He been there since I was adopted. And ever since then, I have no idea what his quirk is or how he uses it. But he does things strangely. And he actually said that he was expecting you guys 2 weeks ago. Who would have guessed? Who was this?" So they get into the cemetery door, and well, Zuko is being bum rushed by all of his ghost friends, and Zuko is seemingly being pushed by the wind, quotational marks, quotient, the wind, but it's really his friends in the graves talking to him and asking who are these people, are they good, all of these questions, and Zuko says they're teachers of his and they're here for some paperwork. So can you please let me go? They said, okay. If you say they're good, we'll let them alone. But we're not gonna stop watching. Which now Zuko looks over to Aizawa, and Aizawa is acting normal. He expected this, and he just put in his mind that these are probably ghosts. But All Might feels the feeling of being watched, but having nobody there really gets him tensed. And Zuko says, guys, you're doing too much. Can you please stop staring? And All Might finally feel relief. With that little skit happening, Zumi and his master came and was setting up the table. Zuko brought them into the house. Aizawa had many questions, but he was asking the paperwork first, and Azumi agreed to it. But when they look over to his master, well, Aizawa did ask him what is his quirk. And, well, the master says it, but it came out as nothing, as if he didn't say anything. Aizawa asked him for his quirk, and he kept saying it, but no one can hear it. Said, okay, are you messing with me? Why can't I hear you say your quirk? I see your lips moving, but nothing's coming out. And Aizawa is getting real pissed because he needs to know for everybody, for he can prepare who to call and who to notify if Zuko ever get hurt. And the master said, well, ever since I used my quirk, how do I put this in a simple term? My quirk has a life of its own, and it chooses on if it wants to be heard or not. I think that's the best way to say it. No, it's not a sentient quirk. It's just the best way to say it. For it won't be affected. Aizawa said, so it's a sentient quirk of sorts, and well, the master nodded no, and when he says it, it doesn't come out. Zuko was bummed out that he didn't get to learn what his quirk is, but that's how it goes. Too bad, no one's going to learn about his quirk or its secrets, as much as I want to keep it hidden. But really, I don't know. Okay, back into the story. They were talking with Zumi and learning that Zuko is adopted as well as Zumi. That the master, they say his name. He finally reveals his name, and no one batted an eye about it. They just think it was normal. They say, where is their original parents? And Zumi with Zuko have a sour face. And the master saying, well, they're dead to us. They're not dead, but they're dead to us. And the two kids nodded with agreement. Aizawa understood this and left it alone. All Might understood it as well and left that alone, not asking any more questions. As they were about to leave the house, Aizawa was actually he turned around and looked at the master and said, "How did you do this security system around your home?" The master said, "It's very simple work. I use it with my quirk and some of my friends, and like this and that and this and that." Basically, he actually is saying this and that. He's not saying specific things. And Aizawa said, "Can you put this into the UA campus since we're doing the dorming system? It would be great for the kids, and no villains come by or unwanted help." And the master said, "How big is UA again?" He says X amount of acres. And he I think that's a bit bigger than the cemetery, but he looks over to Zuko and Zumi, thinks to himself he really wants to protect them at all cost. He looks over to Aizawa and said, "Yeah, I can get it done. How long do you want it set up?" And Aizawa said, "Whatever is good for you. In best times, I would like to have it in a month, and I will inform the principal about this." And the master said, "No need, I'll talk to him myself." It was, I believe the master saying this, I believe his name was Nezu, correct? And Aizawa said yes. Okay. Two snaps, and the master is gone. Out of nowhere. A few minutes passed by, and Aizawa was given a text saying he was notified what's going on, and very happy to say that we have hired the master for the security systems. And and this what really got to Aizawa even more. Nezu actually gave $1,000 bonus check onto Aizawa's paycheck, and that just really hits way different. He's more happy about meeting with Zuko's parents than anybody else's. He smiles, look over to them, said okay. He is a little more cheerful than he usually is, which is freaking out Zuko a lot and Miss All Might. But Aizawa finally leaves with a huge grin, thinking going to my favorite cat shop. Yeah. Should I keep going? Yeah. So 2 days has passed and they're moving into the dorms. Zuko see his master and a bunch of other people wearing coats, jackets of multiple different colors. He sees more black and blue than a red, and that's just his master, and some white coats. He was going to ask a question, but he decided not to and focus on his room. Now everybody is finally settled in and enjoying the peaceful, quiet, but it's getting too boring, and they started to do a contest on which of the boys' rooms is the best, which Zuko was against about it for the most of the time, up until about the fifth room of the boys, and then someone chimes in and said that the boys are getting judged about their rooms, why not the girls? Of course, Manila. And the guys really like this idea, and the girls comply with their demands and also let their rooms be judged as well. So Zuko, learning that he gets to see what Hakakuri's room will look like, he offered up his room as well. Now, his room, let's move on first. That his room is on the very first floor, that everybody's already on the second or third. So they decide to do the rooms there and work their way down. And Zuko gets the chance to see her room with her happy self. And Zuko likes it. He likes the room just because he expected as much, but he's still happy to be in a room this cute, and he says that out loud, which really made Invisible Girl embarrassed. And she immediately pushed him out of her room as Mineta sadly took a whiff of her dresser. But he still gets cold chills time to time when he does something like this, and it's starting to affect him more. Now, everybody has done their rooms up until Zuko's room. Zuko opens up his room, and instead of being regular or even in canon, it has a bed, but the posters show horror movies, films of all type, and they're all connected with zombies, ghosts, and poker size. Can't say that word. Dang it. New word I can't say. Great. But they're not surprised until they look on his desk and see it's like a picture book of some sort. And they ask, can they see that book? And Zook said, how did that get there? As he tried to get it away from everybody's point of view. But he didn't use his quirk. And someone was fast enough, let's say Dinky, grabbed it out of his hand and opened the book up and be very surprised to see a bunch of pictures about him, Zumi, and his friends over at his house, and also the classroom. It's almost like a yearbook Photoshop that Zuko has secretly been taking for everybody. And Zuko tells them, please close it. He's trying to grab it out of their hands, but they are a little too fast. So this little interaction of Zuko getting the book back inches away until someone gets to see it. Sorry, the background was getting too loud, so I had to close up some windows. And anyway, when it finally landed onto Hakakuri, she looks at some of her pictures, and she finds a note kind of sticking out of one page, and she decides to open that. And to her surprise, it's the window scene of her and Zuko just sitting there and just talking. And everybody looks and sees how Hakakuri is not talking about anything. Zuko, he tries to touch it, but he knows he's waiting for something. He back away slowly and try to slowly let everybody see that picture. And everybody has a chance to see what Hakakuri actually looks like. And some of the guys are saying she looks cute. And the girls are saying that she looks really cute, which is embarrassing Hakakure, but she looks up to Zuko and asks him, "When did you take this picture?" And Zuko said, uh, "Would you be mad if I asked someone else to do it?" As he tried to look at her and look away. And she will be mad. And she said, "But who took the picture?" And Zuko said, "Well, don't be mad or don't be scared. But it's one of the ghosts that's been with me for all this time. It's the one that can bend," as he grabbed her hand and made them appear, said, "Yeah, he's been giving me some tips on how to approach you guys." Sorry? And they have no idea how to react. They felt lied to, but also very confused on what he asked him of doing. That'd be so difficult. And Zuko didn't say anything, but his friend, let's call him Thomas, said, "Oh, hello everybody," as he gripped onto Zuko's hand, said, "This little fella is not as social interactive as you may think. I, Thomas, or I forgot his name already. Great. But I, Thomas, force him to do things, or I'll have all of our friends in his home annoy him to no ends until he does something. And one of them, I'm sorry, miss, but I was the one was forcing him going to the library for every night because I knew you were there and I want to see you guys together." And he let go of his hands and disappeared. And he watched the mayhem that is going on in that area. A lot of this, a that. And one of the guys asked the question. So if he did not say that to you, you two would have never... Zuko said, "I will still be holding back my feelings." Hakakure feels lied to, but she asks, "Where is the ghost now?" And the ghost appears right in front of her, saying, "I can do this by myself too, honey." And she kind of like backed away just a bit and have a little yelp. And he said, "And what is your question?" She said, "Thank you." And Thomas said, "Oh, that's very nice, but I want to see some drama, and you two are the best form of it. I've been alive for long years. I've been dead for many. He's my only friend that can see me. And now I can able to turn invisible. I need some more action. Can you guys like kiss or something? Even the bedroom will be funnier." And when he said the bedroom, everybody in the classroom said, "Ooh." And Hakakure and Zuko blushes turned red. And I'm going to end it at this point. Thank you for listening. We'll do the morning waves right back up tomorrow. And have a nice day. Bye.